Last time out to Rise at Glory, we took charge of our first game in charge of Standard Liège, and we beat Panathinaikos by 2-0 in Greece. We haven't met the players yet, and today we're going to go over what's happened in the transfer window and what's happened in all the other competitions. But if you like this kind of video, be sure to like and share the video. It does help me out a lot. But still, how has the season been getting on? So the first game we had since we last met was against Ostende in the Jupiler Pro League, and we beat them 2-1, having gone 1-0 down inside 5 minutes. So the fact we came from behind in this game was great, and it meant that we were doing better. I just didn't like the fact we went behind and conceded our first league goal of the season. So can we do more? And can we do better? It turns out that yes, we can do better in the next game. We won 5-0 against Panathinaikos in the Europa League. League Path third qualifying round second leg to ensure we win 7-0 overall. It gives me hope for the next game, which is against Lega Vårsaval. So, can we continue our good run of form? Turns out we couldn't, because Vestalo actually denied us a win today, having scored a penalty just before half-time in a match that we were absolutely dominating. And you can see from the XG chart, the match story here, as I'll zoom it in, they had no shots until their penalty and then just sat on it for the rest of the game. We scored just 2 minutes into the second half, but yeah, this was not a good day from our point of view, and we probably should have done better. And I also realized because of the European games, we're probably starting to struggle with match fitness and all that stuff, so things were not going as well as I hoped they could have done. The question now is, did we do well against Lega Vårsaval? No, we didn't. Lega Vårsaval beat us 2-1 in the first leg of the fourth qualifying round, and I was a bit startled because of how well we're doing against them in our Youth Academy Challenge save with Malta Lublin. So, yeah, this was not an ideal situation to be in. We didn't really do well in the first half, honestly. If we look at the XG match chart, we honestly did terribly in the first half. They had a very good chance very early on. They scored with it. They scored again before the end of the first half, and generally, for the first time in charge of Standard Liège, wondering, have I made a mistake with my tactics? And I went more attacking, I tried to do more. We got a goal back, we didn't win the match, we still lost 2-1, but at least it wasn't 2-0, which was better than nothing. It meant that we were still able to be competitive, and we could do more and more. And then we took on Alheveli Lovan in the next match in the league, and we beat them 3-0. Parika got a hat-trick in the second half, having come on from the bench. And I thought, yes, this guy's doing really good stuff here. And we could do more with this. So when we took on Lega Vårsaval, I tried to be attacking. I tried to take the game by the stroke of the neck in the second half because we weren't getting the goal. I felt like we needed to do better and better. And then they scored the only goal of the game to knock us out of the Europa Conference League before we even got to the league phase, which was not ideal. And the board were a bit upset with me. Not to the point they called me into a meeting to sack me or anything, but they just were disappointed with the fact that we got knocked out before we got to the league phase. It was literally one game away. If we had not conceded and we had scored instead, it might be a different story, but we lost by 0-0. It was even, but it just wasn't our day, unfortunately, and I just hate the fact that we lost this game. I really do. But then we took on Senk and we beat them by 0-0. They were down to 10 men in the second half. We'd already got an opening goal of the game. And a youngster who's a new gen scored the only goal of the game. And I was happy with this because it told me that we had an opportunity and that our league start was really promising. But there's stuff that's happened as well. And I'll go over the transfer window now. For we sold Osher Davida for £11.5 million to Real Valladolid. He wanted to go to La Liga. They're in La Liga. I thought to myself, okay, if you want to go, I need a good price. And we got a good price because it's going to be £11 million. It can rise up to £16.5 million, but we've also made a profit of at least £10.1 million as well. So as far as I'm concerned, this is an outstanding deal, and we have got some good money for this guy. And to be honest with you, as much as I wanted to keep this guy around, he just wasn't doing well in the league. And yeah, he got 2 goals in the continental competitions in the Europa Conference League, but he just wasn't doing it for me in the league. And I thought, okay, if you're unhappy, I'll let you go. But before David left us, I signed Felipe Cruz from Empoli for £1 million. I felt we needed more strength in the right back position, even though he could play as a winger. But as a wing back on support, he fits all the boxes I'm looking for. And he's on a 3-year deal. I felt it made sense. He's had an okay debut for us. So happy days there. And I just thought, this guy's got all the attributes I'm looking for. He's got all the attributes, all the player traits. He runs with the ball down the right. He gets forward whenever possible. He knocks the ball past his opponent. Why would I not sign this guy? Even if he's not going to get much better in potential, potentially. I just like him. He's a good player for this division, and it makes sense for £1 million. And he also likes big matches. He's also fairly professional, which is very useful. And he's just able to concentrate quite nicely. So if I needed someone to be productive, this is the guy. Also, he's good at set pieces, long throws and corners, and even free kicks. But then we sold Arnaud Bedard for £6 million to Fulham. Wasn't exactly planning on selling this guy because I kind of needed the goalkeeper who's really good, but they came in for £6 million, and he said, I kind of want to go for a new challenge. He's had a really good start to the year as well, despite apparently having a really bad couple of years. So either I've got some really good stuff out of him, or he was just really bad before. I don't know what the problem is with Bedard, but yeah, he's okay for me. Fulham came in, one of the backup goalkeeper. They offered me the money I wanted, and yeah, he's here. He's now at Fulham. But I did get a replacement before I sold Bedard. Timo van Houten was the person we brought in for £350,000. He's 6'6". He also has the same problem as Bedard does. He doesn't like big matches, but he was okay with being a backup goalkeeper. So, if I needed to bring another goalkeeper, a better goalkeeper, then Van Houten would not be upset. And in my defense, Burnley had signed him from Anderlecht for £750,000. They made a loss for £400,000 on the guy. And I just thought to myself, well, he's not doing anything for you. And if you're willing to sell him for £350,000 and I'm selling a goalkeeper for £6 million, it feels like a no-brainer on my part, doesn't it really? Yeah, he doesn't like big matches. That's the only downside apart from potentially his injury proneness. And I like the look of him. He looks quite decent for his age. And he could definitely get better long term. They think he could become a good goalkeeper, but as a backup goalkeeper, being a good player for this division is not bad at all. But then we signed Billy Cometio for £1 million again. And again, it makes sense in my mind. He's also 6'5". He's consistent. He's also got some decent speed. I think for what I'm looking for, he made sense. And the fact we signed him from Lyon for £1 million was very useful. He wasn't getting any first team football there. Yes, they're making a profit of about £600,000 on the guy. But given where he's been at Liverpool, he's been at Basel, he's been at Lyon. He's been at some good teams over the years, and I just felt like this guy was a good long-term idea for signing. He's a decent player, could become a good player again, so I'm looking at the youth side of things here. It just makes sense in my mind to get this guy in. He speaks French already, so as far as I'm concerned, that's half the battle already sorted. And then we signed Frederick Nissan on loan from AC Milan. Now this guy's good, isn't he? He's a good player for this division, could become a lot better in the future. And given he was bought by Milan for £2.6 million, I think it made sense to bring the guy in. He was out on loan in the third tier last year in Italy, and I think he's quite good for what we're looking for. And if I wanted to, I could sign him for £3.6 million in the future. Now, do I think he's worth £3.6 million? Potentially. And here's why. I think long term, this guy is going to be a star, and I think if we wanted to make some money from this guy, £3.6 million is a good price to pay for that. He's 6'2", yes, he's a bit slower than his partner, but I feel like he's quite good for his age, and he could definitely still improve. So we've got two really good centre backs on our hands, and I think that was the area we needed to strengthen along with the right back position, and now the goalkeeper position. But other than that, I'm happy with how this has gone so far. But then we made a last signing in the form of Lucas Esquivel, and on loan from Aston Villa, and we're paying nothing towards his wages. Now, he's worth between £400,000 and £4 million right now. I do have an optional future fee of 5.5 million. Whether I want to pay that when he's being paid 24 grand a week at Villa, I don't think so. But we have the option there if we wanted to do it. And it really depends on whether or not he wants to sign for us long term. But I think, given what we're looking for, and given that this is one of the few areas that I also felt we needed to strengthen in, he's a very good signing. A good player for this division. Could become a leading player for this division. He likes big matches. He's consistent. There's a lot of things to like about this guy. As for the league, though, we are currently in second place. And we're only 2 points behind Club Brugge. So that's great. And I've got a lot of things to be happy with. I really do think this could be a great season for us. And there's one thing I didn't really talk about, and that's what happened in the last couple of years in this division. The last couple of years, we have seen Standard Liège finish in 3rd place. They missed out on the Europa League because Charleroi of all teams won the cup. I want to win the Corky Cup. So the years before that, though, they finished in 6th and in 3rd. And the year before that, in the first season to save, they finished in 8th and missed out on Europe altogether. So they're very hit and miss with getting into Europe. And that's kind of why I'm disappointed with not in the Europa Conference League still anymore. But I hope that we can at least make sure we get in the top 6 every year now, because that seems to be the mainstay for the club, and they never sack their managers, it feels like. So I think we've got an opportunity here. I really do. I say don't sack the managers. Ronnie Dyler got sacked in the first season back because he kind of missed out on the top 4. Henning Berg always got in the top 6 every year. I need to replicate that if I'm to do well at this new club. But that being said, I need to show you the players and why I had to replace some other players. So Bedard we sold because he wanted to leave, and Timo Verhouten was very important to sign, even if I'm paying a bit too much money potentially. And then we've got the likes of Gillian Rest, who's not exactly amazing, and apparently they paid 1.2 million for. What were they doing? What were they thinking? He's only good enough to be a second-tier player. And they also got Luan Henkenek, which, again, not sure why he's part of our team and why he's considered someone that's good enough. I didn't register him for Europe. That's how bad I thought this guy was. He's 33. I'm definitely going to either sell or let go of in the near future. He likes big matches, but he's only a decent second-tier player. There's not really a lot to like about him, honestly, other than that he's Belgium. But if we look at the right-back position, we only had one person before Cruz that was really good enough for the first team. And in my defense, Gio Davallo is actually a decent player for this division, but I needed more strength and depth, and I don't think he's going to be too upset with the fact I've kind of got a replacement for him long term. He's also 30, so actually, can I demote him to squad play? He's okay with squad player, so let's do that. I did do squad play, right? Didn't. Okay, let's do that now. So squad player for Davallo, I think he is a decent player, but I'm not going to really use him as a starter. He will get to first team football regardless, though, in various positions. Centre back, I might have gone a bit overboard with it, but I felt like I had to make some moves in the centre back position. I really do. I never talked about Bukadi, who is a DR Congo international, 30 years of age, 60 caps, consistent, good player for this division. I needed more strength, and I also plan on using this guy as a DM every now and again, so despite the fact he could be a centre-back, I feel like I'm probably going to use him as a DM more than anything else, and I need more strength, and given he's also 30, I'm probably not going to give him a new contract after his current deal, so there's that to think about. But then we got Kogi Machida, who, another centre-back, who I'm probably going to need to look to move on at some point. It's his last year's contract, so I could have sold him for money. I didn't at the time because I didn't have really a good replacement. But Machida probably needs to be sold or let go of in the future. So I'm okay with letting him go for free. We did spend about 625,000. So it's not like I made the worst call in the world to not sell him. I think I could have got about $1 million for him, honestly. I might still try to sell him, to be honest with you. But I don't know. Machida just doesn't really feel like a player that I want to use long term. And there you go. But we also had Nathan Ngoy, who, as much as I want to say this guy's going to be good now, isn't good enough for the top flight. He's a second-tier player, a leading player, mind you. He likes big matches, yes. But I couldn't justify just having this guy as a starter. So we got at least 4 or 5 centre-backs we can use around the time. And I think this guy would probably be the one I'd probably demote down to the second team, because it's the same division as that he's currently playing in. But yeah, I got a few options I could use here, and it makes sense to either sell some players or demote some players. I think Machine is the one I'm going to sell, and Ngoy I'm going to have as a backup. So there you go. But left back, I definitely need more strength in depth, because Esquivel is definitely the person that I'm probably the happiest with for the signings, because it's probably the best that we could have done at the time, if I'm honest with you. But we have Jacob Barrett-Larison, who was a left back who is actually one on loan by Courtright, so we could definitely do that. But he's 31. He's got 2 years left of this kind of deal. I might look to sell him at some point, but he also only wants to be a fringe player, so he knows his position. But we've got Jose Salinas, who is unhappy with the fact I've not given a new deal. He wanted about 10 grand or something like that, and I didn't want to give him that when he's only a decent player and doesn't have big matches. So I'm looking at selling this guy in the future. He's one of my Monza and Luzerne, so I think I can probably get close to 4 million for him. I really do. Whether or not he'd want to go, I don't know, but he's unhappy. So maybe I do sell him in this January transfer window. But now I look at the DM position, and there's a lot of players to talk about, and also Bacardi can also play here, so I like the fact we got the options to do a few things here. But Thomas McKendy is definitely my first choice in the DM position, because he can play as a deep line playmaker. He takes a tempo and looks to pass over then take the shoot, which as far as I'm concerned, just makes him playmaker material. 15 passing, 16 vision, 16 first touch. It makes sense in my mind to do it. And he can run for days, so perfectly acceptable. He's a good player who's also consistent, and he's only 21. He's going to get better. He's definitely going to be my star player in the future, and I need to nurture this guy and give him as much first-team football as possible so he can continue to become a star. Nelson could definitely play at the DM position as well as Bacardi, but Rabbi Matata is definitely someone that can play in both the DM and the centre midfield role. At the DM, he can play as a deep line playmaker really, really well, but as a midfielder, am I mad for thinking box to box? Now, I know he's got the strength, which is not going to help him, but 15 finishing, 15 first touch, 12 dribbling. Am I mental for thinking that? He's got 16 passing, 16 decision making. I think he could do quite well here. And if not that, then Mazzala could definitely work. He's got the long shots on him. So maybe the Mazzala's the role for him. Only downside about him is the fact he's not very consistent, but I know that players can improve their consistency, so there's that. And he's also driven, so he'll definitely get better over time. Miroslav Kace is a Slovakian international, and he's the perfect box-to-box for what we're looking for right now. I say that despite the fact he's only got 9 dribbling and 8 aggression and 10 finishing, but everything else about him just screens box-to-box, and it's his best role for us, so I'm not going to get in his way. He's been paid 10.5 grand, mind you, and he's a good player for his division, but he is consistent. He's got plenty of international caps. So I know for certain this guy's got the ability to be really, really good. And he was at Victoria Pleasant before he signed for 1.3 million. If we can make a profit on him and get close to the 10 million pound mark, I'm more than willing to do that. Though whether or not someone wanted to pay 10 million pounds for a 30 and 31-year-old remains to be seen. So a player I'm very excited about is Matteo Francesconi. He doesn't have big matches. Only downside to him, but given that he is perfect Mazzard and could be very good at box to box, but given that he is 22 years of age and there's another youngster that is 20 by the name of Rabbi Matete, I might have 2 stars for the future in midfield. He's a good player already, he's very consistent, and he's professional, which means he will improve. How much he'll improve by? That remains to be seen, but I like him. Francesconi is quite a good signing. He's worth between 8.6 to 10 million pounds. We signed him for 925,000 from Cesena. I think he's quite sizing, and he's in my first team plans, to be honest with you. He's already got a goal and 3 assists so far, so he's definitely proven himself quite quickly to me that he deserves to be in my first team plans. William Belekvisa is also another interesting player who's a winger, but can also play in midfield. So definitely a box-to-box in my mind when he's not playing the wings. He's a good player for his division, but hates big matches. much like our goalkeeper. So a few things to work on potentially. He could be retrained as a midfielder, a wide midfielder. He can play as an inverted winger if I needed him to. So very versatile, very, very useful to have in the team. But now we're going to talk about the right wing, and there's a lot of players I'm excited about. And even though I sold one of them, who I was hoping to use for 11.5 million, I got reason to be excited. Aaron Donon is a player that I'm very excited about. Definitely our best player of the team. Leading player for this division, consistent, likes big matches, and is a perfectionist. So, understandably, he's worth that much money, but he's wanted by Real Sociedad. And I'm only going to sell him if I can get close to 25 million, because he's worth between 19.5 and 21 million right now. If that sort of deal comes in, we might have to look to sell. He's 28, so definitely would be worth a lot of money in that regards. And given that he was signed from Valerenga for just 1.7 million, that would absolutely be a huge upgrade. And he's already got 2 goals and an assist so far in 3 matches. He might have got injured in my first game, or one of my first few games, but I'm excited to see what he can do for us, because he's quite good. Lenny Ilicic is a young player, though, that could definitely replace our main man if we were to sell him. He's only 22, he's a good player, he's consistent, doesn't like big matches, the only downside to him, but he's quite good. He's been playing as a winger in his past couple of years. I played as a striker as well, but inverted winger is probably his better role. And yes, he likes to run with the ball down the left. I might need to get rid of actually, but he's one of those players that I'm very excited about, and he's only 22. Left wing, a few players to be talking about here, and some more reason to be excited, I think. Matteo Cafaro is a good winger right now. He's 29, so definitely is on the older side of things for football in that regard, but he's consistent, he likes big matches, and he's a good player for this division, so happy we've got him. He's had a good start to the season so far, even if he's only got 2 assists so far in all competitions, but a 7.07 average rating is not a bad rating to have in the first 8 games of the season. But we got Des Dragos, who is useful as well as both an inverted winger and a striker. Question is, in your mind, if you have to use him, is he a striker or winger? I think winger for now, for me, because he's good as a backup for the role, but I like him. He's good. He's consistent, and he's a good player for the division, so we could definitely work with him. It is unfortunate he's just injured right now, though. We've also got Brahim Gadadi, who isn't amazing, and he's only a leading player for the second division, but he could get better and become a top flight player in the future. He's also only 21, so he definitely could be much more impressive, but I don't know. I'm just happy to see him do well. But now we're going to talk about strikers, and Stipe Perita is definitely the star up front, but he's 31. I know he can play further on because of his natural fitness being 15. He likes big matches, he's consistent, and he's only a good player for this division, but he's worth between 15 and 8.5 million pounds. If for some reason someone decides to come in and say, we'll take off your hands, I'd probably sell, as long as it's within the 18.5 to 20 million pound mark. I just think we can make a lot of money from this guy, I really do. But we got a young striker by the name of Stan Belsma. He's got a 4-year deal, he's a decent player for this division, and I've been using him, and he's got a goal for me already this year. He's been my first team planned. He's got 16 acceleration, 14 pace, 16 agility, 16 natural fitness, 14 jumping reach. He's only 6 foot, but he's also only 18, and he can play as a winger, and he can play as a striker. So I've got plenty of reason to be excited about him. He's got a driven personality, and he's come through the team's academy. One of the other reasons I actually went for Standard Liège when I saw they came up was because in my Youth Academy challenge save with Mota Dublin, watch that if you haven't already, Standard Liège actually produced a player that was really, really good. So good, in fact, they actually won the FIFA Best Under-21 Men's Player of the Season. Or at least was in the top 3 for that. It was one of the 2 things he did. And the player ended up becoming so good, he's now in the FIFA Pro Team of the Year. So, when I say Standard Liège can produce some amazing talent. That is why, and that is one of the reasons I decided to go with Standard Liège for this part of the save. That and the fact that they can win trophies, but that's the added bonus to this whole situation. I love the fact that I can potentially produce some amazing talent and use the team's youth system as a way to do so. It's a really exciting prospect here. That being said, I actually did bring some more people in as staff members as well, to the point I literally need to scroll down to introduce them all. I'll do that another time, I think, but I don't know. I'm just very excited for what we have at the moment, and we've got some very good staff members now to help us long term. After these transfers, we're now actually expected to be 4th place in the league, which is very promising, and I think we can do quite a lot of things, but I do know I need to improve a bit more. But what do you think of the team so far? Because I'm going to end this here. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves. I hope you guys will like and share this video, and that you'll subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a lot. But anyway, until next time, goodbye, and well, good night.